My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is Metro 102 Apartments. This is the entity that is stalking. You see this hovering over downtown Ontario luxury apartment townhomes? This is stalking. Not only hovering over them, but doing a cartwheel in alignment. This is halt and plumb stalking. This is the entity that is indeed stalking. I am Ontario Town Square Townhomes and Metro 102, where the entity is stalking in the path. That's the Ontario International Airport. and everybody in the complex. This is where Southwest Airlines is dipping behind the B&G Plaza like they're landing there. And this is where you see them doing cartwheels right now. So at what is 5:38 in the morning, when I'm at the town square, they're hovering over this apartment complex while I'm nearest the El Bacon, where you see them hovering over that bar. Okay, they're not doing that now. They're stalking. Instead of flying in this direction, flying over the city hall, flying over the library. That's the stalker that is the Ontario International Airport at 5 in the morning. And this is how United States are. They're stalkers. This is P.O.C. Here is a light activity. Here's my shadow that's coming up from behind. Shadows perplexity coming up from behind, and here's another one coming up from behind. This is light activity. This is psychopathic pacing. The people that say that are stalking on the roads and the highways, and they're not free to engage in any of this. It's criminal surveillance. With the government that's engaging in what is doing cartwheels over the apartments at 5 in the morning, stalking. It is indeed public corruption. This is the entity that's flying what's going to be submitted in court, shutting down the airport, that is engaged in the conspiracy to murder by stalking me as I've been documenting the... This is the same thing that her rentals is doing. This is criminal summoning. This is the exact same criminal activity that Herc Rentals is engaging in. Light activity, loitering in relevant position at what is 2850. This is where Herc Rentals is inside and with right-of-way also. The two trucking, the two utility trucks inside of this parking lot, and this business plaza that's monitoring. And this is the psychopathic pacing as I exit this parking lot area where I'm documenting, and the Ontario police are engaging in surveillance with the people of the state. This is a business plaza that's engaged in state surveillance. Herc Rentals and right-of-way are engaging in light activity creation, and the Ontario police are engaging in the same exact thing. Herc Rentals drives away, right-of-ways in the parking lot maintaining light activity. Ontario Police Department replaces and engages in the same criminal maintenance of light activity. This is the department that's stalking by helicopter every day, every night, including last night, and doing so while they're engaging in surveillance in the city of Ontario. This is Archibald. This is criminal facilitation with the people of the state. The entities engaging. This is the 10 freeway that I took a picture of. This is the video that's going to be used for prosecuting Paul Leon, exposing the criminal activity ongoing throughout the city. The people of the state that are residing in the apartment complex are monitoring with the Ontario police, and so are all the people of the state that are pacing up and down Archibald. This is P.O.C. via Molinara and Archibald. And Inland Empire. This is Inland Empire right here. That's Archibald. Via Molinara is the entity that is the cross street. This is where the entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring, and every license plate that I documented inside of there. It's not just them, but that's a sample. They're all being federally prosecuted. This is criminal summoning. This is what an entity does that is conspiring murder with the kidnappers and murderers of the Ontario Police Department. This is indeed P.O.C. This is criminal. License 9WTT217, and they're doing that as a population, one after another, monitoring together, stalking together with the Ontario Police. License 9MEU295. The Ontario Dialysis Center, they're monitoring. License plate 9AYJ191, I believe. This is P.O.C. This is the criminal pattern of conduct. And this is what the entity do. What the Ontario and Herc Rentals are engaging in is light activity. This is accomplished while the fake sun is over my head. And this is the psychopathic pacing, amplified audible activity, criminal. With the light activity coming out of the apartment complex where they're monitoring. They're already engaged in criminal activity, living in relevant position. They're monitoring and deliberately doing so, creating activity while they drive in and out, pacing. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:30 a.m. This is Ontario Police engaging in criminal summoning. This department's being shut down. That's psychopathic pacing. License 8PLD203. They're monitoring together. TCB Fire. License plate 9EAH887. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And as I just want to be clear, monitoring, tracking my every step. The moment that I walk to the sidewalk and I observe Herc Rentals that has driven away while they were engaged in light activity creation with all the demons that are gang stalking, crossing path one after another, maintaining a method of peculiarized light. Ontario police are stalking, crossing path, and maintaining what is loitering in relevant position with light activity. And they're engaging in surveillance where I have traveled to this part of Ontario. This is Mike Lorenz's federal prosecution. This is the entity that engaged in what is removing, blocking evidence on the venue of the internet when I'm going to Pomona, California, California, Fontana, Montclair, and I'm documenting this criminal pattern of conduct. And then these terrorists that are stalking, engaging in the conspiracy to murder after having engaged in what is stealing money from me, oppressing me, creating this economic circumstance right now, and repeatedly kidnapping, are still engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct with the people of the state. All right, and it's entirely unlawful. There is no existing basis under the Constitution for a warrant or probable cause for what the government is doing, which is in the city of Ontario, exposing in the state of California. This is P.O.C. This is all criminal summoning. And this is where the entity has the fake sun rising, remember, on Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. This is American Medical Response. This is what they're doing in Upland, California. This is what they're doing in Ontario, California. P.O.C. It's the same exact criminal pattern of conduct. They're monitoring while you're looking at a demon manifesting, using an emergency vehicle to do so. LAPD is tracking your steps, and they are running over, intentionally murdering someone in the middle of the street, not ignorantly running over the people of the state. It's an act of surveillance with the people of the state who are not engaging in accidents. This is psychopathic behavior right here, and these are all demons. Vehicle 1119, they're going in circles, round and around. They're going in circles. They're pacing. These are monitoring demons. P.O.C. American Medical Response, Ontario Police Department. This is the entity that is tracking me and everything that I just documented, every license plate that I just documented, and every business. I just want to be clear, the entire city of Ontario is being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. Criminal summoning upon my documentation of Herc Rentals. I'm going to prosecute that company. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct with the people of the state. And as I document, the Ontario police come and replace to engage in that criminal act, which is an act of terrorism, facilitating the pattern of conduct amongst a population who are doing so where they reside as well. This is not private property. It's a facilitating venue. P.O.C. It is 6:32 a.m. This is Inland Empire and Archibald Avenue in Ontario, California. And this is the Business Plaza. It's got the address 730 on it. P.O.C. All of these businesses over here are monitoring. And the entity that's maintaining light activity like Herc Rentals is, like the Ontario Police and American Medical Response are creating what is light activity for the massive monitoring of the entity that's maintaining surveillance. It's not traffic. And you also have the 10 freeway. So you're getting to the inhumanity behind gang stalking that Michael LORENZ is going to be federally prosecuted for. Alan D. WAPNER, Michael GERKEN, the terrorist company that is American Medical Response that's engaging in surveillance throughout the state of California, not just like you see with Ontario and Upland. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the entity that is stalking by commercial plane. This is where on Inland Empire, you see how they're dipping down. There's no airport. In fact, the Ontario International Airport is, this is the inside of the plaza where I'm standing on the sidewalk, and Ontario police are along the sidewalk, engaging in the same criminal conduct that Herc Rentals is engaging in, light activity creation for the massive psychopathic pacing by the people of the state. The entity is maintaining plane activity over this area where the light activity is relevant, in relevant position to me, and the entity maintains no plane activity. They're flying over the apartment complex, hovering over this plaza in relevant position to me, tracking my steps, while the Ontario Police Department are maintaining, and American Medical Response are maintaining light activity, monitoring with the people of the state. This is terrorism, criminal surveillance, the criminal conspiracy to commit murder while you are stalking as a public entity. And the people of the state are that public entity. They are not private citizens, showing you the entity that is engaging in through all of these businesses. They're not engaged in what is cleaning. They're not engaged in what is executing any rights under the Constitution. You're just reporting to work. I'm just doing what I'm doing every other morning. I don't know the target individual, all legally irrelevant. They're gang stalking. As I show you, that specific environment, that pattern of conduct follows where I go, and that's the prosecution of the entire city of Ontario. Burgertown, U.S.A. discount store, the FOK Plus, I.I.S company and staffing, the Arco gas station. These are all businesses. This is the entire city that's being prosecuted. And the entity is stalking by the airport that maintains no planes from the airport that are flying in this direction, hovering over what is Inland Empire Boulevard. Okay, this is P.O.C. and this is the entity that is doing so at 6:36 a.m. This is giving context because I'm taking pictures of all the license plates that I encounter, and this is exposing the area where I'm at, where this entity is engaging in this at the time that it's engaging in it, relevant to where I'm located as well. Remember, the entity is placing the fake sun on Euclid Avenue as I'm walking into Upland, California. The entity is placing the fake sun over me at the bus stop on Euclid Avenue at F Street in Euclid, and it's keeping it there. The entity that's engaging what is keeping the fake sun over the Ovid Family Community Library, over the walkway at the Ontario Civic Centre, where the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, stalking with the planes, stalking with the department vehicles, doing so while they are engaging in psychopathic behavior, which I captured in the previous video. They're engaging in U-turns, driving up and down motorcycle vehicles, stalking with light activity, and the people of the state are the same entity, one after another, after another, after another, psychopathic pacing by demons that are engaged in stalking while they are monitoring. P.O.C. And that is occurring on the roads and the highways. It is currently 6:37 a.m. This is the prosecution of the people of the state. And this is the prosecution of what is that U.S. government that is serving to prosecute the people of the state. P.O.C. P.O.C. This is the entity flying on the opposite side of my person, flying in this direction, hovering over the building, flying on my opposite side of my person. And this is the entity that's doing, this is Archibald right here, where the entity is stalking. Remember where the airport is. Remember what they're doing when they're acting like they're landing at the B&G Plaza, when they're doing cartwheels over the Ontario Town Square townhomes apartments. That's the entity that's engaging in, though they're landing behind the Chevron on Euclid Avenue, while the airport is at 2900 Airport Road. This is the entity that's engaging in all manner of surveillance using commercial airline planes. All right, and they're also engaging in that using smaller government planes, but the airport is being shut down. They're engaging in surveillance of the state, and this is terrorism while they are stalking, surrounding me with commercial planes in this environment, while that police department that's engaging in obsessive, sexually violent stalking and kidnapping upon stalking is engaging in what is that criminal monitoring in concert with the airport that's stalking with all of the people of the state, which includes companies. Burgertown represents the people of the state. P.O.C. walking out of the business is a means of relevant positioning. Stalking in the path, and already documented the license plate. This is the P.O.C. That's the federal RICO case. This is the entity, as I'm showing you the businesses, this is the massive federal RICO case against the government. The entity that's maintaining an ongoing criminal system of surveillance, that's a crime. They're making money and profiting off of criminal surveillance, that's a crime. They're engaging what is maliciously extending themselves as engaging in business, whatever the name of that business is, whatever the purpose of that business is. It is actually criminal surveillance with the government, the city of Ontario. That is a crime. They're doing so while they are also keeping the evidence of that system, that malicious system, under surveillance, and they engage in more acts of obstruction, such as removing, blocking that evidence on the venue of the internet, as I capture that same pattern of conduct, that RICO pattern of conduct in other cities such as Los Angeles County and Pomona. That's a crime. The entities engaging in federal stalking while maintaining what are corrupt businesses, as you are watching and witnessing them, how they engage in the pattern of conduct with the government that is stalking by planes, helicopters, police, fire, and ambulance, while they are sharing that in a specific environment, such as the fake sun and the fake moon. That is the federal RICO case, and that is a crime. It is also demonic, and it is no less of a crime because they're demons. This is to let the world know about what the demon-possessed are engaging in. And the entities engaging in this while they are stalking. I'm at Archibald Avenue. This is not constitutionally protected. None of it's free. It's also no coincidence. The entities engaged in this. This is Archibald and Inland Empire, and the Ontario police are in relevant position, like you saw. Criminal facilitation of everything that you see here. They're all stalking together. And that's the prosecution of the people of the state. And the people of the state includes all businesses, every single last business. That's a massive RICO case. P.O.C. It is currently 6:41 a.m. where the entity is stalking by the government. The people of the state are stalking. Merchants is engaged in surveillance with the Ontario police, who start sounding sirens as I start documenting. They're in the parking lot for Baker's, which is gang stalking as well. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance with corrupt companies. In furtherance of murder, this is the federal RICO case. Merchants is gang stalking in other cities, as I documented as well. This is P.O.C. Anybody that's engaged in this pattern of conduct and they're immigrants, them and their families are being deported. This is criminal summoning. This is what American Medical Response was doing seconds ago. All they're doing is pacing. They are pacing. At the intersection, Archibald and Inland Empire, maintaining light activity. They're monitoring with the entire 10 freeway. You have thousands of people that are targeting together. American Medical Response is a stalker, and so are the Ontario Police Department. Those are stalkers. This is surveillance in concert with the people of the state. Criminal summoning, like I stated, what the Los Angeles Police Department are doing in LA, turning on their sirens is a criminal act of surveillance where they are already monitoring, already aware of who you are. 9JNY064 is stalking. They are not witnessing an accident while the entity is engaged in criminal monitoring, light activity, relevant positioning, and then abusing the positions that they have, turning on the sirens to speed down the street and intentionally run over the skateboarder in the middle of the street in Los Angeles, where the entity is engaging in this criminal summoning with the people of the state who are sacrificing, that is murdering intentionally and knowingly amongst the surveillance system, American citizens who are the people of the state. All right. This is unlawful, but this is the entity that murders the people of the state, meaning demons like this being killed by the police department and claiming that they're investigating. That's what LAPD did. SCI-ICH using the Baker's drive-thru. That's a federal RICO case. This is P.O.C. All right. This is the entity that's engaging in what is surveillance as they use their lights and sirens. That's what the city of Ontario is showing you. And this is the prosecution of Los Angeles Police, Los Angeles County Sheriff. This is the same entity. They committed murder is what I'm letting you know. This is the evidence showing the malice behind murder that was committed of the young man on the skateboard in LA. American Medical Response is pacing, and they're doing so while the Ontario police are maintaining criminal means of monitoring. This is light activity by right of way, tracking my steps. All cities, a gang stalker already got their license plate. They come off the 10 freeway, engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so with the entity that is stalking the Ontario Police Department, maintaining red and blue lights. Demons that are monitoring. And they're doing exactly what Herc Rentals is doing in the video that's going to be published with the domestic terrorist image on it, who is being prosecuted, Paul Leon. P.O.C. License plate, psychopathic pacing. Light activity. And this is what the Ontario Police Department are doing. These are demons that are unfit to be in law enforcement. They're engaged in criminal activity and they're demon possessed. That is mentally ill. Severely mentally ill. P.O.C. This is Archibald and Inland Empire Boulevard. That's the pattern of conduct. Alrighty, I want you to pay attention to this. This is what I am observing while I'm kidnapped by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. You're looking at the freeway. There's no takeoff over here. And this is what the entity is doing over the Stater Brothers parking lot while I am using my phone, and the device is under surveillance, and the people of the state are in the path stalking, targeting, which is clearly shown through the conduct of the entity. The entity engaging in this hovering conduct, like you see, this is what San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department were engaging in. They would hover over Etiwanda and San Bernardino, which turns into 4th at that intersection. They were doing that while I was kidnapped. I'm literally chained up on the bus. The entity is engaged in what is stalking on the roads and the highways with the people of the state. The entity were hovering over that intersection. This is how psychotic the demons that are stalking in commercial planes are. While the entity is already engaged in kidnapping, meaning you have me in custody, they are still obsessively engaging in this conduct, hovering over the bus, hovering over Etiwanda and San Bernardino. Look at that intersection. There is no plane activity that is ever going to occur, especially like this, what I'm showing you here. The entity is stalking me in the path, hovering over the field, this 10 freeway location right here, for 7MFL492 to cross paths with me, keeping me under surveillance, stalking together. And this is what I'm documenting. This is what I'm subject to. This is what I'm observing, rather, while San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department are engaged in federal stalking on the roads and the highways, just like AMR, just like right of way, Herc Rentals, the Ontario Police Department, 9KSH064, the people of the state at the El Paseos apartment complex, who are coming out to engage in activity creation while the entire entity is engaged in surveillance. The Ontario International Airport using commercial planes hovering over that ground of the West Valley Detention Center. There's a large field at that intersection. They would do that while the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department were driving on the roads and the highways, exiting and entering that facility where they're engaged in federal stalking, gang stalking, psychological torture, criminal monitoring, which is demonic activity. And the entity would hover with these massive planes flying in slow motion over the intersection, just like I'm showing you is the case here while I'm looking at that. This is exactly what San Bernardino County Shannon Dykes is engaging in. That department, that facility is what is in need of what is shut down and disbanding the kidnappers that are engaged in the maintenance of this beast system. People of the state that are both inside of the facility and on the roads and the highways, sharing in that psychotic pattern of conduct. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's 7:13 a.m. I'm Empire, and I'm at what is Date, Palm, Paseo. Ontario Police Department are stalking in the path. They engaged in kidnapping with San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Ontario police are being disbanded. The people of the state are subject to prison. and San Bernardino County engaging in this very pattern of conduct with the Ontario International Airport that's being shut down. You're understanding what they were doing during the midst of every kidnapping that I was subject to by this same entity that is stalking while I am documenting it. This is exactly what Shannon Dykes, Mike LORENZ are being federally prosecuted for. Okay? John McMahon before Shannon Dykes. This is 2018, 2019. It's 2026. There's no there are no statute of limitations with regard to the federal offenses that these departments engaged in while they're gang stalking. This is impunity, not traffic. Obsessively stalking and refusing to with light activity that's being provided by the city of Ontario. This is the entity that does that. And now, as I'm walking around, the Ontario police, who are stalkers, vagina monitors, are stalking just like this, crossing path every turn that I'm taking, doing so while I came to this part of the city. Everybody on the 10 freeway knows where I'm at. This is the beast system. This is surveillance. And the entity uses in a psychotic display of those that are murderers, those that are kidnappers, those that are stalkers and sex offenders. They're stalking in commercial planes, and this is exactly what San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department engaged in. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:15 a.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. I just want to get into it. Oh, he doesn't have to use the bathroom anymore?
He left.
Oh, he left?
Go to work.
Oh, okay. This is the entity that's lining up and trying to break into the bathroom while they're monitoring. It clearly says vacant. It's merchants that's engaged in criminal summoning outside. They're pacing and monitoring inside, and they're lining up for the restroom. That's a communication device in alignment with the bathroom. This is AM/PM that's engaged in vagina monitoring. This is P.O.C. engaging in the same tactic. That's Jai, an employee, and this is AM/PM. That is engaged in bathroom monitoring. That's the entity. That's why you have the companies engaged in the same thing. And they are lining up at what is the time is 7:45 a.m. And the bathroom at the AM/PM is the most coveted space to be in. Knocking on the door because not only are they lined up in relevant positioning, but everybody is now then with an urgency. Oh, can you please hurry up? I need to use the bathroom. It's activity creation. This is the P.O.C. Ontario police are vagina monitoring while AM/PM is engaging in what is the sex offense upon harassment with the people of the state. And it is specifically merchants. Okay, P.O.C. It is currently 7:46 a.m. This is, again, surveillance in a bathroom. This is the mentally ill that are stalking with light, stalking as a population, and stalking and following you to bathrooms to do so. It is, that's Jai, also, that's an employee, and they're also monitoring me as a patron of the venue. But they're going to be prosecuted the same, even if you don't buy anything. And AM/PM is gang stalking. The door, they're pacing in and out of the entrance, they're monitoring. This is AM/PM. They're a sex offender. P.O.C. This is P.O.C. This is bathroom monitoring inside of the AM/PM. This is at the intersection of Inland Empire. The intersection of Inland Empire Boulevard and Archibald, where they're monitoring and harassing while they're monitoring. So this is already the sex offense right here. And then they're going and banging on the door. Oh, I have to use the bathroom so bad. I need to use the restroom so bad. And the entity's engaged in what is activity creation. And this is upon, where's the trash? Oh, and this is upon the entity engaging in the bathroom monitoring on behalf of the Ontario police who are maintaining criminal summoning with American Medical Response. And the entity is engaging in that as a population, sharing in surveillance in a literal bathroom. All right, the guise of that is necessarily harassment. This is what I've documented Stater Brothers engaging in. This is what I'm documenting Starbucks engaging in. They are sharing in that pattern of conduct, and these are the mentally ill that are stalking with light. These are the mentally ill that engage in this conduct as they're conspiring your murder, engaging in that absurd conduct. They're doing so to customers. This is what you need to know about AM/PM ARCO. They're not distinct from any other company. And the entity is doing this while they are also engaging in evidence tampering. Remember, this is the entity that tried to remove the evidence of the same pattern of conduct, which is ongoing in bathrooms, tried to remove it altogether. This is the P.O.C. Hi. Yeah.
We need a couple of $1.07.
So he didn't have to use the bathroom anymore? Who? The one that was pounding on the door. Started a conference outside the bathroom. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was out of character that he tried to break in and then he leaves. Right. The card. Yeah, card. Alrighty, this is documentation of patrons that are sharing in that pattern of conduct. That's the federal RICO case. They're coming in making purchases and gang stalking. Even if they're not making purchases, the maintenance of the establishment itself is for business purposes that are sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct. License 19420M1. And merchants that's engaging in surveillance at the intersection is engaging in surveillance of the bathroom, and they come inside of the venue to engage in that. I documented this particular location, ARCO, and with Tracy Banks, license 4WON432, that license 9HUZ940 as of late in 2026. And this is following kidnapping in 2018. And what I'm subject to is at the same ARCO, the people of the state are sharing in criminal defamation when they're not even, haven't even spoken to me. So that means while I am in the vehicle of Tracy Banks, this was written documentation, so I just want to recall this. The entity stole this evidence, so I'm going to use this instance of the entity monitoring as to recall what they've been engaged in for years. License 19420M1 is engaged in this, by the way. This is vagina monitoring at the same time while they know where you're at, and then they go and banging on the door while they're monitoring together. And this is all in sync with the Ontario Police Department. So the entity and Herc Rentals. So the entity is engaging in 2020. I described in writing, the entity was maintaining plane activity all over the intersection. Not like what they were doing this morning. That was subtle compared to what the entity was doing in 2019, when the entity is maintaining plane activity over this intersection. They're hovering, flying over Archibald and Inland Empire, while Tracy, under the fake sun, is purchasing gas at gas stall number 10. And while I'm in the vehicle writing down, I'm not even using a phone. I'm in the vehicle. You see how he's monitoring with his device? I'm in the vehicle using a pen and paper. And the entity is, again, unless you're looking in and aware of what they're doing, you're engaging what is making accusations, and the entity that is monitoring what I'm writing is then yelling out what are criminally defamatory terms while Tracy Banks is pumping her gas. This is the entity that's engaging what is stalking you, monitoring you, and they're demons that know indeed what you are doing, including on a device. This is surveillance while he's engaged in vagina monitoring, by the way. And ARCO has a history, a documented history, regardless of the entity stealing my evidence. This is recalling the pattern of conduct by ARCO at Archibald and Inland Empire, sharing in the pattern of conduct with the Ontario International Airport. And the placement of the airport at the opposite end of the 10th freeway is no explanation for the entity hovering, maintaining plane activity all over the sky space. It looked like it was Jetsons. Okay, this is the entity that engages in that true reality when they think no one is ever going to hear about it. When they were convinced that they were going to have me locked up in a facility, which the same Ontario police and people of the state that are gang stalking are sharing in. But they are not engaging in that, flying over the intersection, flying over the gas station, flying over Archibald and Inland Empire. They're engaging in this conduct, but this is subtle compared to what the entity engaged in after kidnapping me, which Lisa Rogan, 2020. This is the entity that's engaging in that conduct. And this is what I documented. Out of their mouth, when I'm writing, you're assuming that I'm writing something that even pertains to you in the first place. While they are automatically with Tracy Banks, who is engaged in, what is she maintaining? A fraudulent, fake, criminal power of attorney, conservatorship, while the people of the state that don't even know what you're doing ostensibly are automatically yelling out, you're crazy, while I'm writing down something on a piece of paper that it doesn't even have anything to do with you. Why would you assume that? This is what ARCO engaged in. ARCO that's engaged in vagina monitoring at 729 Archibald Avenue in Ontario, California. They're engaged in criminal summoning. They're engaged in massive facilitation. This is nothing new. The ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue is gang stalking. Fake sunrise until the sun set. ARCO, the corporation headquartered in Los Angeles, California, is a domestic terrorist, and as you are witnessing, a sex offender. That's AM, PM, and ARCO. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's been engaged. I just want to be clear how the facts operate. ARCO's engaged in kidnapping, as is every business that's engaging in surveillance. They will be prosecuted as the entity that is engaging in this pattern of conduct. ARCO has engaged in multiple kidnappings. ARCO is a sex offender on behalf of that entity and harassing me while you keep my vagina under surveillance in concert with the sex offenders of merchants. P.O.C. It is currently 7:55 a.m. All right, that's 65062 Edward 2. That's Griffith Company, documented gang stalker. 9 Apple Frank Bob 001. This is the entity that is stalking commercial plane over the intersection. The entity is maintaining Archibald and Inland Empire Boulevard as a means of what is concentrating the light activity conduct where I'm at, following, which is what Herc Rentals is doing this morning in the dark, and immediately replaced by what is AMR and Ontario Police. And you have what is right-of-way and Griffith Company maintaining it now. Criminal facilitation. License plate. 7 Zebra Edward Zebra 871, 8 Sam Edward Apple 922. 9 Xavier Zebra Robert 602, 6 Larry Zebra Bob 570, 9 Wendy Apple Nancy Mary Apple. This is P.O.C. And the entities engaging in this with regard to the pattern of conduct right-of-way was in the middle of the business plaza in the dark, maintaining light activity and the impossible light activity. So that's the light activity that you'll see my shadow appearing while they're maintaining light activity, and I walked around in that plaza documenting the people of the state. Then the entity is engaging what is being replaced by the Ontario Police, who are engaging in the same thing, light activity, monitoring. All right, and this is the entity that's doing so. This is Archibald. Again, Inland Empire, where the airport is Stalking. The airport is at Airport Drive, and the entity is engaging what is hovering, while they're acting like at the same time along Hope Boulevard that they're landing. And I'm closer to the airport off of what is Archibald right here. This is the entity that's flying at a heightened elevation. That's Southwest Airlines that's gang stalking while this manner of light activity surrounds me. These are the same demons gang stalking with hard hats on Princeton Avenue under the fake sun. Don't forget about that. In Ontario, California, off of Euclid and Princeton, and the entities using construction vehicles, digging up the dirt. They can do whatever they want. They're monitoring. Okay, you're looking at public corruption, and I will be prosecuting. They're losing their licensure. They're being publicly exposed as they're going to lose that licensure and criminally prosecuted, and it's also going to be relevant to damages. These are these companies' engagement in conspiring murder. And Griffith Company is doing so. Hope Boulevard and Plum. Gang stalking. California license 88. P.O.C. These are demons. These are all demons. They're all maintaining light activity. And they're monitoring my vagina while merchants goes and bangs on the door. Oh, I have to use the bathroom so bad. Okay, and even if that's the case, are you breaking in? Are you going to come use the bathroom while I'm in here? The entity is monitoring. The entity is monitoring, and Griffith is a sex offender. Right-of-way is a sex offender. Lozano's construction is a sex offender. They're all demons that are monitoring as though they're engaging in something. What's what you want you to see, and they're gang stalking. They're psychopaths. They're demons. These companies are sex offenders and terrorists, and they're doing so subservient to what is the beast system. Okay, 67136 Thomas 2. This ongoing pacing and light activity while they're studying their devices, they're monitoring. It's federal stalking right in front of your face. I'm going to prosecute them. P.O.C. These are sex offenders. They're all engaged in vagina monitoring with AM/PM. License 678080 Paul 2. Right-of-way was gang stalking. They weren't organizing any traffic in the middle of that parking lot in the dark. They were facilitating the demons that were inside of these business plazas that were pacing on the street, but also inside of the business plazas, and I documented some of their license plates. It's criminal facilitation, where the stalkers of the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department and American Medical Response are gang stalking with them. This is behind what the entity is engaging in terrorism in the United States through the use of companies, Coca-Cola, Lozano's, Griffith Company, Right-of-Way, AM/PM, Arco, Hyatt Place. They're engaging in what is construction, and they're doing so as the malicious guys for criminal surveillance. P.O.C. These people aren't strangers. This is the United States government engaging in surveillance in the United States, and they do so with those that are immigrants. They're getting deported, every single last one of them. They're getting deported out of this country, and they're being criminally prosecuted. And those that are facilitating, companies are facilitating terrorism amongst the immigrant population. They are creating what are businesses, ways in which to cater to domestic terrorists that are immigrating to the United States. That's the entity that's funding, providing a means of facilitating terrorism by those that are welcome, given a privilege under the guise of the American dream. No. The American dream does not include what is criminal surveillance. This is going to be an automatic reversal. All right, that's a revocation. You're not welcome here. You're not engaged in what is anything lawful or protected. You're sharing in criminal conduct with the government, which is not a protection to you. It's going to be the means whereby you are going to be deported. And everything connected to them, their children. I don't care if they created a business. I don't care if they were in the military. There's no exception for any other type of foreign terrorists, and they're going to be deported wherever they came from. All right, this is P.O.C. This is this ongoing pattern of conduct at Inland Empire and Archibald. All right, and it's all about my vagina. It's all about stalking.
This is what they're doing when they're not covering up the fake sun. You know where it would be rising right now? You know what I already have aboard Omnitrans? The fake sun. They're stalking with light. These are demons. P.O.C. It is currently 8:05 a.m. Coach number 4418. This is a female. This is a state actor, Omnitrans, that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is not the sun, nor there is the sunlight, and she is also engaging in sexual assault and battery. This is the entity maintaining surveillance while the sun is no longer covered up. The moment that I board Omnitrans, that is gang stalking. This is the Ontario Mills, while I do have the entity setting the fake sun at this venue as well. This is the P.O.C. This is specifically Franklin and 4th Street, where the fake sun is moving as I move. The entity is keeping the fake sun. It's 8:49 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the Upland Public Library, for example, and over the side of the Ovid Family Community Library. This is this employee that's sharing in what is sexual assault and battery, and this is the mental illness of a population that are operating public transportation. This is a threat to the public while they're engaging in this deranged and criminal conduct and furtherance of murder. And Omnitrans is going to be federally prosecuted, and so is this employee number. Again, 4465. They're cutting off the employee number. This is the that which was recited at the beginning of the video. This is the female engaging in sexual assault and battery as opening the entrance doors, the rubber-bound doors, and the entity maintaining also a fake sun, and that is a guise where a demon is operating a bus and engaging in sexual assault and battery. P.O.C. and that's because she and Omnitrans are monitoring via communication devices, doing so at 8:49 a.m. This is P.O.C. and everybody that's on the bus that's sharing in that pattern of conduct. This is a group sex act while the demon possessed are monitoring and touching all over you in doing so. P.O.C.
$14, $15, $19, $61, $66,
Orange Way.
$367.
The announcement is audible activity. They're crossing paths systematically with the people of the
Victorville
state.
Valley Transit.
The entity maintaining the fake sun here at this
And
intersection
Metro
into the
Link.
evening.
Please do not jaywalk or
This is the
make
pattern
other
of
tickets.
conduct, and the entity engaging with sexual assault and battery while aboard the bus, monitoring with the entity that is getting on and off the bus, paying a fare. This is the federal RICO case. This is the city of Fontana falling for the entire route with the fake sun over me. This is that inhumane feature regarding the satanic pattern of conduct, or businesses, which is also the government. Omnitrans is engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is also seeking to prosecute Alan D. WAPNER, who is also associated with the corrupt company that is gang stalking in Fontana, California. It's currently 9:15 a.m. This is monitoring on the roads and the highways. They're crossing path, and they're targeting on the bus, which I've already documented before, stalking with impossible light activity, which also the employee 4416 shares in. Omnitrans is gang stalking the Fontana Metrolink train station. This is a sex offense while they're engineered light. None of this is sunlight. That's not the sun. Neither is sunlight reflecting off of the people of the state that are stalking on the roads and the highways. And this is the mentally ill, demon-possessed population. This is public corruption. Here's the fake sun turning as the bus turns, remaining in alignment to me. This is from Sierra Avenue onto Orange Way. This is absolutely impossible to naturally be the case. This is speaking to the pattern of conduct that the city of Fontana is engaged in. And this is the entity that's engaged in this P.O.C. with all bus routes of the Omnitrans bus line. This is the evidence of the city engaging in the criminal surveillance system and furtherance of murder while the fake sun remains over. All of this is an unlawful touch. You're going to prosecute like any other sex offender that is stalking and furtherance of murder. Doing so under the malicious guise of business names. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me in Pomona, California. It's 9:17 a.m. P.O.C. License 1404991, bus 1331, stalking in the path. This is the RICO case, and this is the criminal case against the state. P.O.C. Fontana Metrolink train station. P.O.C. The fire station. They're using the fire trucks on the opposite side of the wall as light activity monitoring with the people of the state under the fake sun. It's 9:33 a.m. If you'll recall the placement of the fake sun over me at 9:35 a.m.
in two places at the same time. 9:34, I believe, the entity is engaging in the same tactic, flying over my head by commercial plane, aerial surveillance with the people of the state in Pomona, California, while the entity is gang stalking at the same time under the fake sun, which is not going to be like this in Pomona, California, and like this in Ontario, California, over me, while the entity is at the Ontario Village Shopping Center at 9:35 a.m., engaging in what is exhibiting severe mental illness, flying in circles over the top of my head, and this is likewise exhibiting mental illness. This is stalking, conspicuous stalking by the government. People like Aquanetta Warren, who are engaging in surveillance with the people of the state. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, San Bernardino County, that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so in your face, an unlawful threat. You see that fake sun reflecting off of that windshield? 7 Sam Xavier 831 has no basis to provide the government any warrant or probable cause to engage in the unlawful threat to the life of an American citizen, where they are psychologically torturing them as well by stalking in this absurdly psychotic manner in any city. As I have shown, while the video evidence is putting together Pomona, California, Ontario, California, and I'm adding on what is Fontana, California, but the P.O.C. provides what are years of evidence of showing the criminal surveillance system in furtherance of murder under a fake sun, which, by the way, as I'm documenting on Saturday, is here after 5 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 9:35 a.m. This is the city of Fontana engaging in criminal summoning. The very specific and detailed criminal pattern of conduct that is committed in concert with the people of the state. Not only is this not sunlight, speaking to vast corruption amongst the city of Fontana that are demons, and that is speaking to what are mentally ill criminals practicing a satanic surveillance system. They're doing so under the fake sun that is not coincidentally but pursuant to a pattern of conduct under a fake sun at the Fontana Lewis Library at what is 9:59 a.m. and this is in reference to the fake sun that's over the Upland Public Library at 10 o'clock in the morning in the city of the city of Upland. The entity that is engaging in the pattern of conduct is doing so while that fake sun is maintaining this manner of precision over me, which is the illusion regarding sunlight, and it's an unintelligent illusion because that's not sunlight that's going to bounce off of the door and then flip backwards onto the sidewalk. Doing so underneath a covered structure, and that's supposed to be sunlight that's reaching underneath areas and then backwards with light while it's in another city over the library where all the demons with all their toddlers are stalking, gang stalking at the Upland Public Library. Okay, and that fake sun, as you know, is over me inside of that Upland Public Library because this is over the roof of the library where the entity is indeed engaging in the P.O.C. Okay, AGS security are not engaged in security. They're engaged in surveillance. This is stalking, okay? This is P.O.C., and this is the identical pattern of conduct by the city of Upland, the city of Fontana, the city of Ontario. Remember C. Gerber, that's engaging in the pattern of conduct at the Ovid Family Community Library where the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. And this is the psychopathic pacing. This is what they're doing on the roads and the highways, and they're doing it to the chorus of the city of Fontana that's maintaining sirens and lights. This is the mentally ill population. You need to recall Stephanie Ortiz. Stephanie Ortiz is going to prison. She's going to federal prison. The entity that is arriving pursuant to criminal summoning is doing so while they're engaging indeed in vagina monitoring. The bathroom inside of this venue is subject to surveillance, and that is targeting my genitalia in particular. And Stephanie Ortiz, that's engaging in what is a criminal act of obstruction of justice with the Fontana police, are doing so at what is 2 in the afternoon. Excuse me, that was during the 1 p.m. hour. And she's engaging in what is calling the Fontana police in order to engage in what is threatening kidnapping while you're gang stalking. There is no statute of limitations. This is, under no circumstances, going to be the natural environment. They're engaging in vagina monitoring. They engage in criminal summoning as they're caught engaging in vagina monitoring. And that is indeed the pattern of conduct. The Fontana Police Department, which are right over here. And this is a matter of history. Very well-documented history. Stephanie Ortiz is going to federal prison. She's not the only one. Sean Thrasher of the Ovid Family Community Library, he's not the only one. The kidnappers of the Upland Police Department at the Upland Public Library. This is federal prison. These city libraries, this is the government showing the public corruption that is underway. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10, as you can hear, it is currently 10:02 a.m. And you did see, this is AGS gang stalking, and you saw the commercial plane flying over. This is the companies that are going to be prosecuted. This is mental illness. Demon possession doesn't have a uniform or a company name. You're going to prosecute the demons that are doing so under the malicious guise of company names and government officials sharing in that P.O.C. All right? That's a pattern of conduct. Alrighty, this is Fontana Metrolink train station, also engaged in targeting, as you see the fake sun over me upon my arrival on the bus for the entirety of the route. This is also the entity that is targeting, flying over the top of my head by commercial plane, engaging in psychopathic pacing while Omnitrans demons that are operating these coaches are molesting with impossible light activity. They are doing that in the specific environment. Here are multiple shadows. That's a demon that's monitoring, honking the horn as I stand up, as I engage in change in activity. This is multiple shadows. Omnitrans is a sex offender. Omnitrans is a domestic terrorist. And this is the massive federal RICO case against corrupt businesses like gang stalking airlines and what is also Omnitrans. This is the entity. It's more than that because you have the Village at Sierra. This is an apartment complex. You have Metrolink documenting them engaging in massive facilitation. This is psychopathic behavior. Actually, they're stalking with light under the guise of maintaining a business, and the bus is just waiting until their next departure. They're actually monitoring. And the entity flew ahead also at the Fontana Lewis Library, okay, where there are also no airports, no commercial airlines, no commercial airports rather. In Fontana, California, there's no landing hovering over me in Fontana by the Ontario International Airport. The gang stalking airlines are going to be federally prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. This is how they're able to engage in killings like what UPS did in Kentucky. Okay, this is how you have things like flying into the Twin Towers in New York and a lying government that has been keeping American citizens under surveillance, engaging in what is telling us whatever it is other than the fact that they are engaging in surveillance and they engage in the same conduct such as murdering American citizens and painting it as an accident. Okay, this is P.O.C. The entity is targeting with commercial planes, and I'm going to prosecute the government. I'm going to prosecute the city of Fontana. Fontana Metrolink train station is the city of Fontana. This is P.O.C. It's 9:17 p.m. This is psychological torture while they're stalking with planes. It's harassment. It's sexual assault and battery. It's also corrupt business practices while they're engaged in monitoring. This is Route 61 that's going right past the stop, by the way. Pay attention to that. This is the entity that's targeting. They know who I am. All of this is monitoring me. So this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:18 p.m. Alrighty, in the city of Fontana, the entity is flying over my head by commercial planes, and you're looking at in the city of Ontario, the entity is flying south over the Metro 102 apartments. The entity is engaging in what is stalking in the path, and you'll see the images of the Ontario Police Department flying on this north end, where the people of the state are gang stalking. 9LGH 667, engaging in surveillance, sitting in the vehicle, engaging in criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder. That's why they're out stalking in the engineered environment. Third party 23103U1. This is a serial stalker. This is federal prison. This is grounds, and this is also federal prison because they're doing so with the Ontario police in real time. I just took the picture right now. And the entity, these idiots then fly over the apartment complex, flying south. The entity is flying over my head at the Fontana Lewis Library today. Just want to be clear, the entity is flying over my head at the Fontana Metrolink train station. There's also no airport where they're flying over Metro 102 apartments. This is the clear stalking by the people of the state. That's who's being prosecuted. This is P.O.C.
It is currently 10:37 p.m. Impossible light activity, that will be Sarah's Regis Group, the gang stalker at the Tesla charge station while you hear the entity stalking by helicopter. This is following the Ontario International Airport stalking flying over Metro 1 and 2 apartments. This is P.O.C. This is the terrorists that are prosecuted. Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted while I'm in Fontana capturing the entity stalking by commercial airline planes, stalking under a fake sun. The entirety of the route of Omnitrans sharing the pattern of conduct of the demons of the Ontario Police Department. This is a violent sex offender, a murderer. This is a pedophile. This is a sex trafficker. This is a rapist. This is a vagina monitor. Okay, this is a kidnapper, Mike LORENZ. He is not only being federally prosecuted, and none of that is hyperbolic, what I just described. This is the pattern of conduct by an entity, and this is a gang leader that has the audacity to be confused with a police chief. He is no police chief. That's why an entire agency is stalking me with a helicopter at what is 10:39 p.m. Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison. That's how this is going to end, and it's not far from that end. He's already been prosecuted. He is going to be in a courtroom and will listen to that conviction. And all of you will witness it as well. He's going to prison, okay? The entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they are doing so while stalking with helicopter. That's the terrorist, that's the stalker that's watching you prove that they are engaging in those unthinkable crimes. And then that terrorist decides to commit it again, undoing it boldly before the nation. That's what's going on now. The rest of you are witnessing the exposure of terrorists that are amongst us. They are also the demon possessed, and this is a threat that has been existent in this country. This is how you have what are acts of terrorism being discussed with regard to what is propaganda as though it's some tragic accident. At the outset, it's discussed in that manner. These are terrorists that are murdering American citizens, and they make money off of it. This is what Delta Airlines and UPS are engaging in. Okay, this is the P.O.C. Mike LORENZ is going to be federally prosecuted. That agency is being disbanded, and they are going to be made an example with regard to those that are going to follow suit, because the entity in multiple counties and in multiple cities are going to be likewise treated under federal law. Anyone that engaged in stalking me with regard to American citizens who are not going to be subject to terrorism in the United States, are you kidding me? You're watching yourselves. Before it happens to you, you're going to watch it happen to the Ontario Police Department. I documented you gang stalking me. You don't have a legal argument. You could be as delusional as you want, stating you were driving to the 7-Eleven and you don't even know me, and I've never been in your city, and you could say whatever you want. The pattern of conduct is clear, and everybody also knows that you're a demon. You're going to be prosecuted. In fact, you already are prosecuted. And your partners are out here sealing up your case. You're going to be federally prosecuted as the terrorist that you are, and you will no longer have any career in law enforcement. And this is justice, long overdue justice. This is P.O.C. That's the entity stalking by helicopter, just like I stated in the previous video. The people of the state are being federally prosecuted as terrorists, and they're going to prison where they're stalking with a corrupt police department that gets away with murder and kidnapping by using these departments and utilizing the resources of these departments to engage in criminal conduct. And therein lies the removal, and in Paul Leon's case, the federal prosecution for funding terrorism for federal group stalking and monitoring. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is Ontario Police Stalking, and I have this license plate on the record. They are committing sexual assault and battery with the Ontario Police Department, which is federal prison. You'll see what is Owens, who's going to prison, who committed kidnapping with his buddy, the mentally ill Craig Hazelwood, who's pacing along the curb with the demons who are the people of the state. That license plate is on the record. That's federal prison. And they're stalking with the Ontario Police, who are testifying against them right now. The government is incriminating the people who are terrorists, who are gang stalking in furtherance of murder, and these are violent sex offenders stalking a woman together and knowing that she's documenting them, and they commit that sexual violence in furtherance of murder with the gang stalking police department that does include Owens. Owens is doing the same thing that this predator was doing, stalking with light. I have him over here on video, and he's going to prison. He committed kidnapping, and the police were down at the square stalking. Owens was lurking, molesting, stalking with light on his device. That's on video. He's going to prison. He's stalking with the people of the state. All right, and that's what the entity is doing, stalking by helicopter, and the people of the state, the demons that are the Ontario police, are stalking, pacing up and down the street all around the perimeter, monitoring me all night long. Where the entity's flying over Metro 102 apart, flying over Euclid Avenue. Owens is gang stalking on Euclid Avenue in front of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments in a police vehicle, having committed kidnapping while the entity is stalking me by helicopter. He's lurking on Euclid Avenue, and the people of the state are engaging in criminal conduct with the police department. They're going to prison for this. You're going to prison. If you go and engage in terrorism with Osama bin Laden, you're going to prison. You engage in terrorism with the terrorists of any police department, you're going to prison. This is P.O.C. And that is indeed stalking by a population. These are the imbeciles who belong in prison. That's where they're going. This is the Nephilim. The Nephilim are going to fill up mental institutions. They're going to fill up prisons. They're going to be filling up planes and boats because they're getting deported out of this country. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, where the Ontario Police Department are stalking literally from place to place. I'm at the opposite end of Euclid Avenue. They're stalkers. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. P.O.C.